Hey everyone, so today we're going to discuss how to look at the first 15 minutes of the trading session and why it's so important. So on the screen I have DWAC. This stock clearly had a strong move upwards in the day in question. If I look at the bottom of the chart, I can see that the first 15 minutes of the session ends right where my crosshairs are. So we start here and we end the first 15 minutes right here. Now, during that first 15 minutes, what I'm looking to see is how strongly the stock is behaving. The more clear the stock is in its behavior, the more likely I'm going to get follow through. So in that first 15 minutes, it doesn't have to stop at a full 15 minutes, but in that time, I should be able to see if a stock really looks like it wants to go up. So let's point out a few things about this stock. First of all, you can see that the green line is above the red line. It opened higher than where it closed. So that's one thing. Number two, when I look at the stock on the chart, I can see these two lines. The darker purple line is the standard VWAP, VWAP, the volume weighted average price. And then I have the weighted moving average in the lighter pink color. And notice that at the start of the day, both of these are actually moving in the same direction in sync with each other. Eventually, the volume of the weighted moving average gets above the volume weighted average price. That's normal. After a while, they tend to spread apart. But the key is that at the opening of the session, they tend to move in sync with each other. And the stock is trading on the upper end of this channel. It doesn't have to be above it. It just has to persistently be at the top. It doesn't, if it keeps going back and forth a lot, then that wouldn't be a very good sign. But if it just starts the day off strong, stays above at the top of the channel, both of these lines are in sync, the stock gapped higher and it immediately starts to move up, that is a strong sign that you're probably going to get a decent uptrend. Now, you may not catch it at the beginning of the session. You may miss most of the movement that occurs then, but oftentimes there's follow-up. So if I look after that, we can see the stock began to consolidate in this area here, but then later on, it began to move higher after that, again breaking out here after consolidating for a while. And remember, in our previous video, I mentioned that this is one of the clearest and easiest to exploit setups you can use for trading, where you wait for a trend, a pause, and then a resumption, which is what we see here. So the first 15 minutes is where we want to identify strong behavior. If we look through a list of stocks on our watch list or on our scans, and it's at the end of that first 15 minutes and the stock does not already look like it wants to go somewhere, chances are it won't. There's no guarantee that a stock cannot move later in the day. Maybe some news comes out later in the day that gets the stock moving sharply up or down. But the key here is that if a stock really wants to trend, it should identify itself early in the session. Within that first 15 minutes, it should be pretty clear what the stock is doing, what it looks like it wants to do, and then we go from there. As a counterexample of a stock that went down instead of up, here's Meta. Now Meta at the start of the day, notice it doesn't look very smooth, it's very choppy, so this one would be much harder to interpret, and in fact I wouldn't even be convinced in the first 15 minutes that this stock really wanted to go down. However, after that it did, which means that if I had the options of choosing to trade Meta early in the session or to trade DWAC, I should go for DWAC because at the time it was presenting a stronger picture. I would choose Meta only if I could not find anything better. And in this case, I would also wait until after that first 15 minutes are done until we can see there's some indications of a clearer trend, which began to start here and also was able to follow through here. So there's nothing wrong with not finding anything at the open that looks really good. If we can't find anything that's really trending well early on, it's better to wait for something that starts a little later than to push to get into a trade where we can't really tell which way things are looking to go. So remember, the first 15 minutes of the session is extremely important. It's where most of the stronger moves start. So therefore, if we look for the stocks that show the strongest indication that they want to trend early in their session, those are the ones that oftentimes are giving us the best results after the start of a session. Okay? Hope that helps, folks.